The sound cut through the marble lobby like a crack of lightning. Smack. Conversations stopped instantly. The soft piano music seemed to disappear. High heels froze mid-step. In the center of the luxury hotel lobby, a wealthy woman had just slapped a hotel maid across the face. Hard. The maid staggered slightly, her cleaning cart rattling beside her. Her eyes widened in shock. Her cheek burned. Guests turned at once. Phones were raised almost instinctively. Some gasped. Others whispered, already judging without knowing anything. "How dare you touch my things?" the woman shouted, her voice echoing beneath the crystal chandeliers. "Do you even know who I am?" The maid didn't answer. Stay with this story. What happens next will change the way you see this moment. She lowered her gaze slowly and steadied her hands against the cart. Her breathing was shallow, but controlled. She didn't cry out. She didn't defend herself. No one in that lobby knew her name. No one knew her story. And no one imagined that the silence they were witnessing would soon shift the balance of power in that room. The maid's name was Elena Morales. She was 39 years old. Elena had worked as a hotel maid for over a decade. Not in one place, wherever she could find steady work. She cleaned rooms most guests would never remember. She fixed messes people pretended weren't theirs. She was invisible by design. Every morning, Elena put on her uniform before sunrise. She tied her hair back neatly, not for appearance, but to stay out of the way. She believed in doing her job quietly and leaving no trace. That morning, she had been assigned to the executive floor, a floor where guests expected perfection without ever acknowledging the people who made it possible. As Elena pushed her cart down the corridor, she noticed an expensive silk scarf lying on the carpet near a suite door. Carefully, she picked it up, planning to turn it in at the front desk. That simple action led her to the lobby. The woman descended the staircase moments later, fury already written on her face. "Why are you touching my belongings?" the woman snapped, marching toward Elena. Elena barely had time to respond. "I was just taking it to—" Smack. The slap came without warning. A sharp, public humiliation delivered in a place built to showcase elegance. Gasps filled the lobby. "I didn't give you permission," the woman continued, her voice dripping with contempt. "People like you are always crossing lines." Elena felt the heat rise in her face, but she didn't raise her voice. She had learned long ago that defending herself in moments like this often made things worse. Instead, she stood still. Silence stretched. Someone laughed nervously. Another guest whispered, "Did you see that?" The woman straightened her posture, satisfied, as if she had just restored order. But Elena didn't run. She didn't collapse. She simply stepped aside, letting the woman pass. Because dignity doesn't fight back. It waits. Elena turned her cart and walked away, but she didn't leave the hotel. She stopped at the service corridor near the elevators, her hands shaking just enough to remind her she was human. She took a breath, then another. Moments later, a young bellman approached her cautiously. "Are you okay?" he asked quietly. Elena nodded. "Yes." That was all she said. Unbeknownst to both of them, several phones in the lobby had captured everything. The raised hand, the slap, the silence that followed. Meanwhile, the wealthy woman returned to her suite, convinced the incident was over. She had places to be, meetings to attend, power to display. What she didn't know was that the hotel manager had already been notified. And so had corporate. Elena was called to the manager's office shortly after. She stood calmly in front of the desk, hands folded. The manager, visibly shaken, spoke carefully. "Elena, can you tell me what happened?" Elena lifted her eyes. "I found a guest's scarf on the floor," she said simply. I was bringing it to the desk. No accusations, no emotion, just facts. Security footage was reviewed. Angles, audio, clear as day, the slap, the silence. By the time the wealthy woman was summoned downstairs, the tone had changed. She entered the office confidently, until she saw the screen. Her own hand, frozen mid-air, the maid standing still. The manager cleared his throat. "Ma'am," he said, "this behavior violates our conduct policies." The woman scoffed. "You're choosing her over me?" she demanded. "I stay here every month." The manager didn't raise his voice. "We are choosing dignity," he replied. The woman's expression shifted. What she still didn't know was that the video had already reached the hotel's corporate office, and beyond. Within hours, her name was circulating in places she couldn't control. Contracts paused, invitations quietly withdrawn. The hotel issued a formal apology, not to save face, but because it was deserved. Elena was offered the rest of the day off. She declined. "I'd like to finish my shift," she said, "because dignity doesn't demand attention." By evening, the woman checked out early. No announcement, no audience, just silence. Elena returned home that night tired, but steady. She sat at the kitchen table with her daughter, helping with homework as usual. Nothing about her life changed overnight. Except one thing. She slept without carrying the weight of that slap, because it no longer belonged to her. Respect is free. Arrogance is expensive. Have you ever seen dignity speak louder than power? Share your thoughts in the comments. Stories like this are why silent dignity exists.